Hello and welcome to the Hockey Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. I'm your host here, Ryan Gilbert, coming to you for the little special solo show here on a Sunday night. Looking ahead to we got a big slate here on Monday. We got 10 games on Monday, January 15th for Martin Luther King Jr. Day here in the state. So gonna be a lot of afternoon hockey to go along with that afternoon football. We got with that postponed game there, and of course my birds going off at night down there in Tampa Bay. So figure out hop on here, record a solo show, see how it goes. I think this is only the second or third one this season. First one on video, so hopefully this is not too sloppy. Usually I'm able to at least chop it up a little bit, but yeah. All right, we have a 10-game slate for Monday. We're going to be getting right into this here. Of course, make sure you are subscribed to the Hockey Gambling Podcast, where you listen to your podcast, if that's Apple or Spotify. Turn on auto download so that episodes get in your feed as soon as they are published. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube, going live there now for every show. Shout out everyone in the chat there. If you got questions for me in the chat, maybe I'll try to answer them at the end of the show. But yeah, make sure you subscribe there, comment, like, all that good stuff. Seeing some good growth there, so hopefully we can see that continue as the season moves along. Of course, make sure you get in the SGPN Discord, specifically the hockey channel. Go to sg.pn/discord to get to the SGPN Discord, then join the hockey channel. Or you can reach out to myself or Talon or the Hockey Gambling Podcast Twitter account at HockeySGPN. We'll point you in the right direction there to make sure you get in Discord. That was a fun time in there. Yeah, make sure to check out other shows as well. I'll have my fantasy hockey article coming out on Monday for the coming week, maybe some other midseason stuff as well. So make sure you check out the website, sportsgamblingpodcast.com. But here we are. It's the Hockey Gambling Podcast. Make sure you're subscribed. We got a 10-game slate, a solo show. So let's just get right into it here. I'm going to kick things off here on the Monday slate at 12 o'clock Eastern time here. We have the San Jose Sharks at the Buffalo Sabres. Game itself is in Buffalo. As you can see here on the screen, I'm showing the odds up here. Sabres are minus 258 on the money line. Sharks are plus 210. Over under is at 6.5. Around a pick 'em over at minus 112. And the under here at minus 108. Buffalo still got Tage Thompson back. Samuelson is questionable for them. Olofsson questionable. They are still missing Jeff Skinner. The Sharks are still very much the Sharks, even though they did give the Sens a bit of a scare there the other night, Saturday night. They did get the race to 3, as Joel very astutely pointed out. But don't go to 4. They scored 4, but it was a 5-4 loss in Ottawa after their 3-2 win in Montreal. Buffalo could not score against Vancouver. Demko getting another shutout, helping out his Vezina Trophy candidacy here. But for this one, we said it for the Sharks Sens games. We didn't think the Sens should be favored minus 200 against anybody. I also don't really think the Sabres should be minus 250. Maybe minus 200, sure. But if you give me the Sharks at plus 210 or higher here, I think I'm going to have to lean that way. Even just a half unit play comes back and wins you a full unit. It is Kakin in the net, which is not nearly as confident as Blackwood, but it doesn't necessarily matter for the Sharks. Kakinen's been a fine backup, and the Sabres going to be Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen for them. No real strong player in the total. I guess I'd probably lean to the over 6.5 just because this is two bad teams, but also it's two bad teams that might not necessarily score too much here. So lean to the Sharks on the side, and then for the total, lean to the over, but more so just a stay away for the total there. Going down here to the 1 p.m. time slot, we have the Anaheim Ducks at the Florida Panthers. Game itself is in Florida. Another huge favorite here with the Panthers minus 395 on the money line. Panthers on the puck line are minus 142. Ducks are plus 310 on the money line. Ducks on the puck line are plus 120. Over under is at 6.5. Both the over and under are paying off minus 110 here. The Ducks, just not a good hockey team now, especially with Zegras traded away Drysdale. Mintyukov, I think, is out again for them as well till late February. So yeah, they're a shell of themselves, and they're not even a good hockey team when they're fully healthy. Florida coming off a tough loss at home to the Devils. They were big favorites there. Devils without Jack Hughes and everybody still beat them 4-1. But the Panthers did outshoot them 37-21 in that win. Or the loss. Did it end a long winning streak for the Panthers? the Ducks here, the Ducks are just not a good hockey team. Back-to-back 5-1 losses, 6-3 losses in Tampa and Carolina. Did win in Nashville to start the road trip here, but I don't think there's enough here where you can back the Ducks. So I'm going to have to go with the Panthers here on the puck line at -142. They've got the fine price here. They did have that overtime win against the Kings, but besides that, their previous 5 wins were all by at least 3 goals: 5-1, 8-4, 4-1, 4-1, and 4-1. So I think they'll be able to get the job done here at home, where they are 13-6-0, while the Ducks are 8-11-0 on the road. Panthers just a much better team. Hopefully, you got in on some Panthers futures, whether it's for the division, for the cup, for the conference. They're rolling right now, fully healthy. Kachuk is on a roll, so Cats are going to be a team to watch here in the second half of the season. All right, going down another 1 p.m. game here. A lot of afternoon games for this holiday slate. We have the Vancouver Canucks at the Columbus Blue Jackets. Game itself is in Columbus. The Blue Jackets are +180. The Canucks are -218. The Canucks are on the puck line or +110. The over-under is at 6.5, with the over paying off -130, and the under at +110 here. Another, a lot of big favorites on this slate here, and for rightfully so here, especially for the Canucks. Canucks are, one of the best teams in the West, if not the best team in the West. After the Flyers took down the Jets 2-0 on Saturday, Vancouver's been a good road trip for them. This is the end of a 7-game road trip. They've won 6 in a row at the Devils, at the Rangers, at the Islanders, at the Penguins, and then at Buffalo, beating them 1-0 there. So they've been on a roll here, 15-7-2 on the road. They have no problem going on the road and winning. And Columbus is just, they're not a very, very good hockey team. We talked about it the past few shows here. They had, some wins in there, some overtime losses. So I wasn't necessarily comfortable taking against them on the puck line when they lost to the Jets 5-0 and then Seattle 7-4. But I am comfortable here taking the Canucks puck line at +110. And I gotta of course shout out the Lotto line, as Joel always points out. That line's been doing great work for Vancouver, so I think they'll be able to get back up to their scoring ways. Maybe a Vancouver team total here. Not sure exactly what that be paying off, but I could see them putting up at least 4 here. Columbus just allowed 7 to Seattle, 5 to Winnipeg, 4 to Minnesota, and Vancouver was consistently putting up 6, 6, 5, 4 goals before that 1-0 win in Buffalo. So I like the Canucks here. I think the puck line at plus money is a good bet. For the total, I would lean to the over 6.5 -130, but then you'd have to rely on the Blue Jackets to score some goals. So I'd probably rather take the Canucks, maybe a Canucks race to 4 than over 4.5 to get maybe plus odds on both of them. If it goes over, it'll be because the Vancouver Canucks score 5 or 6 by themselves. Going down to the 1 p.m. time slot again here. We got a good game here. New Jersey Devils at the Boston Bruins. Game itself is in Boston at the Gardens. Bruins are -180. Devils are +150. Over under is at 6. Over paying off -122, with the under here at +102 here. It's a tough game here. Devils showed some moxie there down in Florida, beating the Panthers 4-1 without Jack Hughes. Palat's out, Myers out, Siegenthaler, Hamilton, all those guys still out for the Devils, but they were able to, get by while being outshot significantly in a 4-1 win. I don't think they'll necessarily be as lucky here in Boston, but it's a tough spot for Boston. They went on the road, 4-game road trip. All 4 games went to overtime. They did beat the Blues 4-3 on Saturday night to kind of end that 3-game losing streak. Coming back home here, I would like to take them here, but at -180, I think that might be a little bit steep. Maybe I'm getting scared off based on the Devils beating the Panthers when the Panthers were, I think, -180 against them there, or higher. I mean, the Devils closed at +195 in that one. So they're a team that can, surprise some people sometimes. But I think if I had to play it straight here, go with the Bruins at -180. Don't hate the draw play. Bruins playing a lot of close hockey recently. But once again here on the total, no real play on the total. Wait to see who starts for both teams, really. I mean, Vanacek or Dawes are both not good for the Devils, and it should be Swayman, I would imagine, with Allmark still fighting that lower body injury he suffered a few games ago. So a lean to the Bruins here, -180, but no real strong play for the game at all. All right, we are brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs. who is bringing you an offer that'll help make the playoffs electrifying. New customers can bet $5 on any game and get 200 instantly on bonus bets. You got the Eagles -3 on Monday night against the Bucks. Hopefully they can get the job done. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code SGP. New customers can bet $5 to get 200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code SGP. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. All right, here going down again to the 1 p.m. time slot. We got the Seattle Kraken at the Pittsburgh Penguins. Game itself is in Pittsburgh. Penguins are -142. The Kraken are +120. Over under is at 6. Over paying off -112 with the under at -108 here. We got a sea creature battle game with the Kraken and the Penguins here, and I think the Kraken, they have more. They're worth a play here on the ice, and also in real life. I feel like they're a much better team right now. Penguins. Some people think they might win the Metro. Might be a decent play to win the Metro there. As I'm not sure if that's Joel's cousin points out in the chat. Max Meyer. Penguins 25-1 to win the Metro. They are kind of hot right now. Back-to-back overtime losses against Vancouver and Carolina, though, but they have been much better since the holiday break, going 5-2-2 in their last 9 games. But Seattle has not lost since the holiday break, even before the holiday break. Since December 18th was their last loss. They've won 9 in a row. This is the 4th game of the road trip for them, of a 6-game road trip, it looks like. But I think Seattle's showing what they really are as a team. We said this is the team that knocked out the Avalanche last year in the playoffs, took the Stars to 7 games in the second round. And yeah, they've been winning games by margin. Their last 5 wins, all 5 wins in 2024 have been by margin: 7-4, 4-1, 5-2, 4-1, 3-0. So I guess I get why the Kraken are underdogs here. Pittsburgh is on an upswing. They're at home, so they have a home advantage here. But I love the Kraken here at +120. It's probably one of my favorite plays on the board. I think that line should come down, a pretty decent bit here. Kraken have been playing extremely well over the past 10 plus games, and the Penguins have as well. But I think Seattle here has the value at +120. I also do. I love the under in this game, under 6 at -108. We've been talking about how great Joey Daccord has been for the Kraken. He did allow 4 to Columbus in a high-scoring 7-4 win, but he's been good. Before that, he only allowed 4 goals in his previous 4 games. And Pittsburgh, whether it's Jari or Nedeljkovic, they've both been extremely solid in net for them. The whole team has really been gelling, and they've been getting answers in net there. So I like the under 6 here. This is the first half of a back-to-back for the Kraken, so maybe look through to wait for goalie news here on Seattle to make sure it is Daccord and not is their backup Drieger, I think, at this point, but he hasn't played in a while, so not sure who they play on Tuesday. That could factor in. Looks like Seattle's game on Tuesday will be at the Rangers, but I don't know if they're going to plan for that. They just got to try to get a win here, so I like the Kraken and the under 6 in this one. All right, going down to one more thing on the Panthers game. It does confirm to be Anthony Stolarz in net. He's been a great backup for them. Goals against under 2, and it's a revenge game for the Panthers here for Stolarz against his former team, the Ducks. So more reason to bet the Panthers there on the puck line. Maybe a shutout to ask for Stolarz. He has none this season, but been playing extremely well. So that could be a play for that Panthers game. All right, now continuing along, going down to the 3 p.m. time slot, we got the Los Angeles Kings at the Carolina Hurricanes. The game itself is in Carolina. Hurricanes on the money line are -148. The Kings are +124. The over/under here is at 6, overpaying off -120 with the under at +102 here. This is one of those games where I wish I had a co-host to throw it to, because I had to bring up this stat here. Or I looked it up recently how the Kings are doing since beating the Avalanche on December 3rd. The Kings are 6-7-5 in their last 18 games here. Wins against Columbus, Montreal, Seattle before Seattle went on the road. That was in a shootout also at San Jose, at home against the Flames when they were, kind of scuffling. Came out of the break with a 5-1 win against San Jose. Not really impressive there. And since then, they've lost their last 7 games here, 8 games, 0-4-4. Have been able to push it to overtime. There have been some collapses there in the third period, but Kings have not been what they're used to. They haven't scored more than 3 goals any of their past 8 games. They were feeling good with those wins against the Flames and Sharks to 5-goal efforts there, but they have not been getting results here. 4 games on the road trip. This is their 5th one before finishing it up in Dallas later this week. I think it's a back-to-back actually for the Kings. So definitely look out for who the Kings start in net. If it is Talbot, I might be more obliged to bet them here, or maybe so not bet the Hurricanes. But if it's I forget who the backup is now. It's not Copley because he's hurt now. Kings, but yeah, either way. And speaking of goalie injuries, the Hurricane, it's Big Save Dave for the Kings as their backup. So, yeah, if it's Talbot, maybe don't bet the Canes. But if it's Big Save Dave, I do lean the Canes way. We talked about it last show. Joel talked about it, how they've been finally figuring things out here. 12-3-4 at home. That's been massive for them because they're only 12-0-1 on the road. Got a lot more home games coming up in the second half based on that split, and they're going to need them. They've been great since the holiday break, going 7-0-1. Their only loss was in a shootout on the second half of a back-to-back with travel against St. Louis. I think the Canes here are rolling. They got Svechnikov back. Svechnikov's been great on the top line with Aho, been great on the power play. So yeah, give me the Canes here at home, -148. I wouldn't play it that much higher than that. This line could move a little bit, but I do like the Canes at that number, around -150. For the total, I'd probably lean to the over here. I'm not sure what you're going to get out of Ranta. The Kings have been, giving up some goals, but no bet on the total, just a bet on the Canes at -150. All right, going down to 6 p.m. time slot now, getting into some night games. We have a night game, the Golden Knights hosting the Nashville Predators. Game itself is in Vegas. The Golden Knights are -130 on the money line. The Predators are +110. Over under is at 6, overpaying off -105 with the Golden under at -115. Big news today out of Vegas. I saw with Jack Eichel is out with an undisclosed injury to miss, quote unquote, miss a little bit of time. So a little bit of time could be anything, but he is added to the Kings injury list now, already without second line center William Karlsson. Third line center is Chandler Stevenson. He's questionable as well with an illness. Their goaltending situation is still very much in flux. Aiden Hill was supposed to come back. He came back, then he couldn't come back. Yuri Patera is out, so it probably will be Logan Thompson in net for them. Thompson's been better recently, not quite as poor as he was before that, but they've been playing under games. So I feel like the under would be the best look here. Depends on who starts in goal, but yeah, these are two teams you think about. You think they're going to be lower scoring games, especially if it is Saros in net. But for the side here, I think I want to wait to see injury news, goalie news on Monday. I do want to lean to the Golden Knights here at -130, just because it's a third game in 4 nights, all 3 games with travel for the Predators. On Friday, they were in Dallas. They won 6-3. On Saturday, they were at home against the Islanders. They won 3-1. And now they got to go out to Vegas here. Three flights there in less than 4 days. 3 games in 4 nights is going to be tough for any team, but also Vegas has 3 or 4 major injuries there. So it's a toss-up game, but I think Vegas, with their home record 15-5-2, would be the way I would go if I had to there. All right, going down to 6 p.m. time slot again here. We have the New York Islanders at the Minnesota Wild. Game itself is in Minnesota. Minnesota is -115 on the money line. The Islanders are -105. Over-under is at 6.5, overpaying off +110 with the under at -130 here. First of all, I like the Islanders here at -105. I do think the Wild did get Kaprizov back, but they're still without Spurgeon and Brodin on the back end. Islanders also getting a little bit healthier. They got Pelech back last week. And just the Wild, I don't trust them whatsoever. They were booed off the ice back-to-back after blowing the lead against the Flyers, lost out in overtime. came back on Saturday with a 6-0 shutout loss against the Coyotes. That was their since December 30th. They've lost 8 of their past 9 games. The one win was in overtime in Columbus, so not much to write home about there against a bad team, winning in overtime. Islanders, though, I've talked about them. I think they're kind of fraudulent here, but they've been winning games somehow. They beat Toronto in overtime, went into Arizona and beat them, but lost 3 of their past 4. They've been on the downturn here, but I think they're still a slightly better team than the Wild. So, yeah, give me the Islanders here minus 105. I did get them at a better number. You can still find them plus 105 elsewhere, but I think as long as this is minus 110, about a pick 'em or better, I'd probably take them there. Have a question in the chat here. Ryan, thoughts on Nashville Vegas tie? Not a bad look. I think both of these teams have been going to. No, Nashville hasn't been going to overtime. Vegas went to overtime against Boston, but Boston has gone to overtime a lot. This is their first meeting this season. 2 of the 3 last season went to overtime, so plus 315 I think would be a bit low, but I wouldn't mind taking either of these teams on the puck line. Maybe even a Predators reverse puck line minus 1.5, whatever that's paying. Going back to that, because I could see this game being a blowout either way. I would not take the draw there in the Vegas game. Maybe a draw though in this Islanders Wild game. Islanders have gone to overtime a lot. They love getting loser points, and Minnesota has gone to overtime in 2 of their past 6 games, 2 of the past 5 games, both against Eastern Conference opponents. These are 2 teams that are somehow fighting for a playoff spot and need every point they can get. So I don't mind the draw play here in the Islanders Wild game. All right, we are brought to you by Cut. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's US-based and legal in 40 states. Peer-to-peer social betting is a new and better way to bet. Bet directly against your friends or other users on sports, politics, pop culture, and other events with verifiable outcomes, plus tons of other social features that give it the feeling of a betting social network, like group chats, betting leaderboards, head-to-head history, user profiles, fan groups, and more. Cut offers lower VIG and fully customizable odds. You can create your own bets. Cut handles the payment side of things, so you never have to chase down anyone for money. And you get cash back every single time you bet against your friends or other users. Cut is the peer-to-peer social betting platform that's US-based and legal in 40 states. Head to cut.com, that's KUTT.com, and use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. And of course, we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, who has a way to play alongside your favorite fantasy players all season long. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite players' fantasy stats and cash in. So watch along, make your picks, and maybe make a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. And when you sign up with the promo code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. All right, here going down to the 7 p.m. time slot. We have the Colorado Avalanche at the Montreal Canadiens. Game itself is in Montreal. Les Bleu Blanc et Rouge. Canadiens are plus 185. Avalanche are minus 225. Avalanche on the puck line are plus 110. Over under is at 6.5. Overpaying off minus 105 in the under at minus 115 here. First and foremost in this game, I'm going with a Jonathan Drouin point, maybe some Jonathan Drouin shots, maybe Jonathan Drouin goal. He's been absolutely on fire since the holiday break, 10 points in 9 games. Going back even before that, he has 16 points in his last 15 games. He's absolutely thriving on the top line with Nathan McKinnon there, new Hart Trophy favorite down there at 2-1. So hopefully hopped in on that as well. But yeah, and it's been needed for the Avalanche because they have been without Lehkonen, who I saw practice recently. He could be back. I believe Nuke is out with an illness or something. So yeah, Jonathan Drouin's been big for the Avalanche there. Going against Montreal, going to be a bit of a revenge game there. So I like that angle. And I also do like the Avs here in the game. Another big favorite. I am going to go with the puck line on to get better odds. Plus 110 here on our good friends at DraftKings. Colorado last time out 1-5-3 at Toronto, coming back from a 3-0 first period deficit there. As we talked about, hopefully you got in on a live bet there. Beat Vegas 3-0 before that. Did have a few overtime shootout wins against Boston, Dallas, and the Islanders. So, there could be some overtime risk here. Montreal's gone to overtime in 3 of their past 4 games, but I just feel like this is a Colorado team that can get past that. So if you're playing this either side, I think you go with the Avalanche. Puck line plus 110. Don't hate that draw play. Probably around plus 350 or higher with how different these two teams are. For a total, I would likely pass on a total. Maybe look towards the under. You got all-star goaltender Alexander Gorgiev. Not somehow he made it the all-star game as a fan vote with his 8.898 save percentage. It is a back-to-back for the Avs, so wait to see who's confirmed there. It is Jake Allen for the Canadians. He's 4-8-2 with a 900 save percentage, 3.52 goals against. So I think the Avs get the job done here on the road, on the puck line here at plus 110. I think that's a good look there. No real play on the total. And then going down to the 8 p.m. time slot to close things out. Before that, though, we are brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. You can enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame Bet's revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. So stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hrfbets.com and use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets, and 15% off everything in the SGPN merch store now until the end of the month using promo code PLAYOFFS. We're competing against other shows for a bonus, whichever show does the best selling some merch here in the month of January will get a bonus. So if you like what you're hearing here, along with subscribing and everything, make sure you put some money where your mouth is and buy some merch. Got the Hockey Gambling Podcast hoodie we're always talking about. We're gonna get some hats in there, maybe some sweatpants. So make sure you check it out there, get some hockey stuff, and support your boys there. Speaking of that, make sure you are subscribed to the Hockey Gambling Podcast wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple or Spotify, or of course YouTube. Shout out everyone there in the chat here. If you got any questions they got the final game of the docket here getting into, but if you have any questions for after that to fill out the show here a little bit, that'd be appreciated. Otherwise, I'll ramble about some Flyers or futures things. Speaking of the Flyers, though, going to the final game on the docket, we have the Philadelphia Flyers at the St. Louis Blues. The game itself is in St. Louis. Blues are minus 115. Flyers are minus 105. Over under is at 6, overpaying off minus 115 with the under at minus 105. I said the Kraken were my favorite bet on the board, but it might have to be the Flyers here at minus 105. You can still find them at even money at other books. Flyers coming off a great road trip so far. Comeback win in Minnesota. Completely shut down the Jets, 2-0 there, taking down the best team in the league, I think, at that point. Blues coming off a 4-3 home loss in overtime to the Bruins. They did beat the Rangers 5-2 before that, but as we talked about on Friday, they got significantly outshot 42-20 here. The Blues are tough at home, 13-7-1, but the Flyers are, better on the road than at home. They're 13-6-4 on the road, 10-8-2 at home. It is a tough third game in 4 nights, all with travel for them, all on the road. The Blues have been home now for almost a week. They were home Tuesday, Thursday, and then Saturday. So, they've had a day off between games and they've been going at it. But I don't think the Blues here are a good team. And the Flyers beating Winnipeg was good because Drysdale did not play due to an illness. Couturier was also out, so the Flyers just had a bunch of guys step up in that one. I like the Flyers here at minus 105 for the total. I like the under 6 minus 105. I love the under 6 against the Jets. I said taking all total under 5.5 and under 2.5 would have been would have cashed there. I got Sharky in the chat pointing out that the Blues expected goals for stats are abysmal. Yeah, over the past 10 games, they have the second worst at 41.413, but they have a 650 point percentage. If you subtract them, it equals that St. Louis is not a good hockey team. They should not be living up to that. Meanwhile, the Flyers have also not been good recently with the expected goals for numbers, but what has been good has been their goaltending. Carter Hart, Samuel Ersson, as I mentioned last game, that Samuel Ersson, there's been talk about last show. They've been talking about, should the Flyers trade Hart? Is Sammy Ersson going to be the guy? Sammy Ersson for Calder. We're on that train now. He was finally listed. I think I saw him 70-1 at one book, 35-1 in another book. I don't think he actually has a chance, but it's fun to get going. So yeah, I think the Blues here. It is a big Kevin Hayes revenge game, especially after what happened this past week with Kevin Hayes in the Philadelphia media. I think Kevin Hayes just had 2 goals too against the Boston, which kind of against the Bruins. He had 1 goal and an assist or something, which is more than he normally does. But yeah, the Flyers, they're just rolling 3-4 lines. They're usually playing 11-7 right now with Drysdale in there. But yeah, the Flyers are for real. I don't know if they're gonna long for the playoffs. We'll see what happens with them at the trade deadline. But this Flyers team right now is proving that it can win anywhere against anyone after having a real tough stretch. They're now 4-1 in their past 5 games, with 2 of those games going to overtime. So maybe an overtime look here, but I think the Flyers get this done in regulation. -105 is a great price for them. I'd probably play that up to -120 or higher. I could see that moving even more. And the under 6, -105. I wouldn't hate going under 5.5 there as well. So that's the 10-game slate for Monday, January 15th. Just a quick run through of my plays. Kraken +122. Seattle, Pittsburgh under 6 at -108. Canucks puck line at +110. Panthers puck line -140. Carolina -148. Islanders -105. Avalanche puck line +110. The Flyers -105, and the Flyers Blues under 6 at -105 there as well. We have a request here in the chat from One Sharp Shark to see if I can sneak in some Eagles Buck playoff talk here before the outro. Let me pull up the odds here. Let's see what I can bullshit my way through here for a few minutes. We got the Eagles at the Bucks here, 8 p.m. time slot, 8:20 p.m. time slot. Got the Eagles at the Bucks. Bucks are +130. Eagles -155. Eagles are -3. Bucks are +3. Over under is at 43. Yeah, I'm not big into football. You guys know this. Very casual Eagles fan here. I do think they're going to be able to wake up here against the Bucks, though. I know Hurts is injured. I know Brown's out. I know Slay's out. I know they're missing a bunch of their key players, but it's Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, I don't think is very good. And you know what? The saving grace is, no matter what happens, at least we're not the Cowboys. At least we didn't get completely embarrassed from my head coach's former team, and we're not going to panic by bringing in Bill Belichick this offseason for next season, hopefully. So, yeah, I think the Eagles are going to win. Hopefully they do. It's always good energy in Philadelphia when the teams are winning, but it's also a great energy when the teams are losing. It's easy to hate on them, especially if the Eagles go out here. I feel like a lot of attention in the city will turn to the Flyers. So yeah, it's going to be interesting here on Monday night. But speaking of Monday night, I think we should all be back with you then. I believe Talon is not working nights. I think Joel's definitely good to record tomorrow night. Should be coming to you probably after either the Flyers game at 7 or more likely or this Eagles game at 8:20. So like a later show, 11:30ish. I think there's not too many games on Tuesday because there's so many on Monday. We got 8 games Tuesday, so probably a quicker show there. Maybe some futures talk. Make sure you are subscribed to the Hockey Given podcast for that on YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Leave us a 5-star rating and review, and I'll read it here at the end of the show. Trying to look up some futures odds right now. There's some talk last night in the Discord between Joel, Sharky. I think Shark was in there. I was in there. The Metropolitan Division seems to be in interesting position after the Rangers. They lost to the Capitals yesterday. They did beat them today. They're still 3 points ahead of the Hurricanes. They're only 4 points ahead of the Flyers, and the Flyers have one more game played, but the Flyers have an easier schedule coming up. A lot of home games. Hopefully they can get going. The Penguins are up and coming. They got 46 points, 10 points behind the Rangers, 7 points behind the Hurricanes. A game in hand on both of those teams. They're 25-1 to win the Metro. I don't necessarily think they have a chance of winning it, but I'm seeing 20-1 is the highest or so right now. I think that's fine, but I'd rather take The Flyers 25-1. If you're not in on them already, I think they're a team where Tortorella can get this group going. This group, they're showing what they can do. They're gonna, sell mostly at the deadline, but getting in Drysdale, they're not really gonna miss a beat when they trade away Walker. I could see them, doing some quote unquote hockey trades where they bring in young NHL players for a rental, or maybe for someone that's not a rental. I could see them making a big trade like that. But yeah, they're 4 points out of first, and they're 25-1 to win the division. There's definitely worse bets you can make. I'm also out there in the Pacific. There's been a lot of changes in the Pacific Division. You got the Oilers, Kings, and Canucks all fighting for that. Let me bring up those odds here for those of you watching the video on YouTube. We got the team futures, division winner. It's quite zoomed in. There you see the Metropolitan odds. Got the Rangers -120, Hurricanes +160, Devils 13-1, Penguins 20, Flyers 22, and Islanders 25. I do think it's safe to say the Devils are out of it now with all their injuries. Could be a good time to buy in on them, if they lose a few to make the playoffs. But I know Joel's been saying to miss the playoffs, which is looking more likely with how the Metro is. But yeah, given those prices, I did take the Canes last night, +185. Joel said that was a bet, all caps. So +160 is probably a good look. Pacific has also been very interesting. You got the Canucks -125 with the Oilers now. Better odds than the Kings at +380. Kings are +450 there. So, the Oilers after starting the year absolutely horribly, they're tearing it up now. 47 points, still 14 points behind the Canucks, who I think might have a stranglehold on things here. But the Canucks PDO has to come down at some point. Maybe, hopefully, maybe it won't come down until the playoffs, but it's going to be an interesting race to watch there. The Central as well. Joel pointed out in the Discord today that he dutched the Avalanche and Jets, both at around +150. Here you got the Avs +130, Jets +150. It's mainly the fact that the Stars are just out of it. Stars +360. Wedgwood's played well. Ottinger's back, but I don't think they have what it takes to win that. I may add some Avalanche around +130 or higher. I believe I got the Jets around 4-1 a few weeks ago. So hopefully to do some stuff there. What else we got? Atlantic, Bruins -105, Panthers 145. I think you may have missed the boat on the Panthers there. But I don't necessarily like the Bruins at -105. I could see the Panthers overtaking them. That may still be a decent bet if you're not in the market yet. And then that's it for the division futures. That's going to be it for the show as well. The solo show for the 10-game slate on Monday, January 15th. Make sure you are subscribed to the Hockey Gambling Podcast or wherever you listen to your podcast, on Apple or Spotify. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. I'll read it here at the end of the show. Make sure you're also subscribed on YouTube. Search for the Hockey Gambling Podcast there. Leave us some comments, leave us some likes, leave us some follows. We always love that type of stuff. And get in the Discord, sg.pn/Discord. All right, I am Ryan Gilbert. You can follow me on Twitter at rgilbertsop. See ya.